English Easy Podcast.
Hello, learners. Welcome back to English Easy Podcast, your partner to learning English.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, we are so glad you're here. If you can, just take a slow, deep breath right now.
Just a really gentle breath.
Right. Wherever you are, just let your shoulders drop. Let the noise of your busy day completely fade away.
Absolutely. This is your time to just relax.
Exactly. And, did you know that the part of your brain that processes smell is, it's directly wired to your brain's memory center?
Oh, yeah. The olfactory bulb. It's fascinating.
Yeah, it totally bypasses the logical parts of your mind, which is exactly why a simple hot bowl of soup doesn't just feed your stomach, right? It literally teleports you back in time.
It really does. And that deep biological connection to comfort is exactly what we are exploring in our deep dive today.
It's just the perfect concept to explore when you're, winding down for sleep.
Definitely. Our goal for this deep dive is to gently guide you through the mechanics of food, culture, and language.
Right. Especially for our intermediate learners who want to elevate their daily conversations.
Or even prepare for a speaking exam. We're going to use the universal language of food to really build up your vocabulary.
I love that. So we'll look at the neuroscience of comfort eating, the absolute chaos of actually cooking.
Oh, yes. The psychological chaos. And we'll get into the hidden grammar of global cuisines, too.
Yes. And finally, we will mentally practice some of this language together with some relaxing, low-stakes exercises.
Exactly. So just settle in. Let's unpack this. We usually think of food simply as fuel, right?
Yeah, exactly. Calories in, energy out.
But that ignores the whole psychology of eating. Sometimes a specific dish acts as pure emotional support.
Oh, absolutely. Like we crave things not because we are physically hungry, but because we are just, emotionally tired.
Precisely. And there is an actual biological mechanism behind that. Think about pizza.
Oh, universally beloved.
Right. Why do we turn to pizza when we are exhausted? It's not just that it's convenient.
No, it's something deeper, isn't it?
It is. Comfort foods actually trigger dopamine releases in the brain. They mimic the feeling of social connection and safety.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Because pizza is completely predictable. When you have a demanding day full of difficult decisions, pizza asks absolutely nothing of you.
That is so true. It's just a guaranteed, predictable reward.
Exactly.
I love that framing.
Yeah,
a predictable reward. It's dependable. Kind of like putting on comfortable clothes.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Yeah, when you're tired, you don't want a fancy, complicated restaurant meal with tiny decorative leaves on the plate.
No, not at all.
You want food that feels warm, simple, and safe. And it's not just the taste doing the heavy lifting there, right? It's the aroma.
Oh, the aroma is huge. Think about baked macaroni and cheese.
Oh, man. When it's in the oven and it's developing that golden, crispy layer of cheese on top.
Yes. The aroma is incredibly powerful. As you mentioned earlier, it hits that olfactory bulb in the brain.
Which connects right to the amygdala. Right?
Exactly, and the hippocampus. The main areas responsible for emotion and memory.
Which is exactly why that smell is actually a little bit dangerous.
How do you mean?
Well, the smell alone fills the house, and suddenly you see people just wandering into the kitchen.
Oh, yeah, like zombies.
Right, and they always pretend they're just in there to, check their phone, or they suddenly need a glass of water.
But really, they are just following the magnetic pull of the aroma.
Exactly. It's the exact same phenomenon that happens when someone bakes garlic bread. It overrides human willpower completely.
It absolutely does. Because those aromas are a biological shortcut to feeling taken care of.
Yeah, like a grandparent's homemade soup.
Exactly. It is rarely some complex Michelin star recipe. But the aroma carries this powerful, unconscious feeling of security.
Oh, and interestingly, there's a universal childhood ritual that comes with that soup.
Oh, I know exactly what you're going to say. It's the psychological boundary testing.
Yes. When an adult sets the bowl down and explicitly says, be careful, the soup is too hot.
Right. The moment the adult establishes that boundary, the child feels this overwhelming scientific responsibility to immediately test it.
For science. And of course, they burn their tongue.
Every single time.
Every time. But the fascinating part is that even with a burned tongue, that simple soup remains a core memory of safety.
It really does. Which actually brings up a really valuable shortcut for our English learners.
Oh, right. For anyone taking a speaking exam or just wanting a deeper conversation.
Exactly. When someone asks you about your favorite food, your first instinct is usually just to name it. Like, I like soup.
Yeah, but that's a bit simple. If you want to demonstrate real fluency, you have to explain the why.
Narrative builds fluency.
So exactly. You describe the memory attached to it. So saying, I love my grandmother's soup because the aroma instantly teleports me back to my childhood.
That transforms a basic answer into a really compelling narrative.
It totally does. Now, eating the food is a deeply relaxing, passive experience, right?
Absolutely.
But if we transition into the kitchen to actually create the food, well, the reality is a completely different story.
The cooking fantasy versus the cooking reality.
Yeah. I have to admit, I fall for the fantasy all the time.
We all do. You imagine yourself in a pristine kitchen.
Right. Soft jazz is playing in the background. All your ingredients are perfectly chopped and resting in little glass bowls.
Just like on a television cooking show.
Exactly. But the reality of a Tuesday night dinner is usually much more chaotic.
It involves opening cupboards in an absolute panic.
Yes. Looking around wildly and asking the universe, where is the salt? I know I bought salt.
It really is a journey of hubris. Let's look at making a simple pasta dish, for example.
Oh, it always starts out so well.
It does. You respect the recipe. You measure everything carefully.
But halfway through the process, the cook enters what I call the dangerous stage.
The stage of overconfidence.
Exactly.
The Dunning-Kruger effect of the kitchen. A little bit of knowledge makes you feel totally invincible.
Right. You stop looking at the recipe, you toss the measuring spoons into the sink.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you decide you are just going to measure the spices with your feelings.
Just like the grandmothers we were just talking about.
Exact.
But that is exactly where the culinary disasters happen. Because those grandmothers have decades of muscle memory.
And we do not.
We really don't. Let's look at two specific cooking mistakes that happened during this overconfident phase.
Okay, the first is the heavy hand with the chili powder.
Oh, yes. You think, just a little more heat, but your hand slips.
Yep. Suddenly, your food is so intensely spicy that it triggers an actual pain response.
And you find yourself quietly eating spicy pasta mixed with plain yogurt just to survive your own creation.
I have absolutely been there. Spice teaches you humility very quickly.
It really does. But the second mistake might actually be more tragic.
Oh, what's that?
It's when you make a dish that looks visually beautiful, but it is completely bland.
Oh, bland. That is a sad situation.
It's a fascinating word, actually. It comes from the Latin word blandus, meaning soft or soothing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but in culinary terms, it has evolved into the ultimate insult. It means the food has no personality. It lacks conviction.
Food with no personality is just sad. You serve it to your dinner guests, and because they're polite, they chew slowly.
They smile that tight little smile.
Right, and they say, oh, this is nice, and then they quietly drink a massive glass of water.
That little awkward pause before the word nice tells you everything you need to know.
It really does.
You know, what's interesting here is the direct parallel between cooking and speaking a language.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Confidence is an essential ingredient in the kitchen, but you need the right balance of technique.
Right. Just as a dish needs the perfect amount of seasoning to have personality, your English conversation needs precise, descriptive words.
Exactly. To be engaging. A sentence without descriptive adjectives is a bland sentence.
That makes perfect sense. If you just describe a meal as good or bad, your conversation kind of lacks flavor.
It does. But if you describe the food as bland when it lacks taste, or well-seasoned when the spices are perfectly balanced.
You're adding spice to your vocabulary. You immediately sound more articulate.
Precisely. So now that we have survived the chaos of our own kitchens, let's zoom out a little.
Because food isn't just personal, right? It's deeply cultural.
Yes. Let's look at how different cultures express their history and values through their culinary traditions.
Well, every culture has a distinct identity on the plate. Take Indian cuisine, for example.
Well, it is globally praised for its incredible complexity.
Exactly. You have rich curries, vibrant street food, savory snacks, and just so many distinct types of warm breads.
The sheer variety tells a story of a vast, geographically diverse subcontinent.
Yeah. And then contrast that complexity with Italian cuisine.
Italian food is celebrated for its incredible restraint.
Right. It relies on very simple, high-quality ingredients like tomatoes, olive oil, fresh basil.
To make familiar, perfect dishes, the culture respects the integrity of the raw ingredient above all else.
And then Arabic cuisine is deeply defined by its communal warmth.
Oh, definitely. When you think of it, you imagine massive sharing plates of grilled meats, fresh hummus, warm bread straight from the oven.
Yeah, you're often physically tearing bread from the same loaf as the person next to you. It enforces a real social bond.
And if we look closely at these traditions, they're communicating different social messages.
Like what?
Well, some traditional foods are served specifically to say, welcome to my home.
Right.
Other gentle, easily digestible foods are cooked to say, I see you are tired. Please rest.
Oh, I love that. And some incredibly rich, labor-intensive dishes loudly announce, today we are celebrating.
Exactly.
But despite all these differences, there is one universal cultural experience that connects us all.
Especially during family gatherings.
Oh, yes. When a guest politely puts up their hands and says, oh, thank you, I'm completely full.
The host entirely ignores them.
Completely. To the host, I'm full, simply translates to, please give me a few minutes to breathe before you give me more rice.
It is the universal law of hospitality. An empty plate is a failure on the part of the host.
Absolutely. Now, I want to push back on something we touched on earlier, actually.
Okay, what's that?
I love the idea of exploring these different food profiles, but is trying a new cuisine really like trying on a new culture?
I think so, yes.
Because I hear people say that to master a cuisine, you have to learn the grammar of their spices. But isn't spice really just vocabulary? You can throw cumin or oregano on anything.
Ah, that is a brilliant challenge. Spices are absolutely the vocabulary, but the grammar is the technique.
The how and the when.
Exactly. For example, in Indian cuisine, there is a technique called tempering, where you toast whole spices in hot oil at the very beginning.
Oh, to release their essential oils.
Right. That is a grammatical rule of that cuisine. If you just sprinkle raw cumin on top at the end, you've used the right vocabulary word, but your grammar is completely wrong.
Wow. And the dish just won't make sense to a native palate? That is a fantastic distinction. And speaking of elevating our understanding, instead of just referring to the food of a country, using the word cuisine instantly elevates your language.
It really does. Saying, I am fascinated by Arabic cuisine sounds so much more sophisticated than saying, I like food from Arab countries.
It shows a real level of cultural appreciation.
Now, understanding a culture's spice grammar is fascinating. But if we want to actually order that food, we need to master a different kind of grammar.
The subtle art of politeness in spoken English.
Yes. Let's transition from theory to practice now.
Good idea. Wherever you are listening right now, just allow yourself to sink a little deeper into relaxation.
We're going to mentally practice some of this vocabulary together.
We'll introduce a word and use it in a sentence, and then we'll leave a little quiet space.
In that silence, I encourage you to softly repeat the sentence out loud.
Yeah, just give it a try. Let's begin with the concept of hunger. The word is appetite.
This doesn't just mean you need food to survive. It means you have a strong psychological desire to eat.
Exactly. Here's the sentence. I have a big appetite today. I'll give you a second to repeat that.
Great. Our second word is aroma. We use this instead of the word smell when the scent is deeply pleasant, usually related to food or coffee.
Here is your sentence. The aroma of this kitchen is amazing. Go ahead, say it softly.
Wonderful. The third word is savory. This describes food that is salty, rich, or spicy, but absolutely not sweet.
Right. It's tied to that complex umami flavor. Here's the sentence. I am craving something savory tonight. Take a moment to repeat it.
Perfect. The fourth word is bland. As we discussed, this describes food that lacks conviction and has very little flavor.
Okay, here is the sentence. Unfortunately, this soup is a little bland. Try saying that one.
Nice. The fifth word is cuisine, a specific cultural style of cooking.
The sentence is, I love exploring different global cuisines. Your turn.
Excellent. And our final word is seasoned. This means the food has the perfect deliberate balance of salt, herbs, and spices.
Here's the sentence. This dish is perfectly seasoned. Go ahead and say it out loud.
Beautiful. Now let's explore how these words function in the real world.
Because one of the hardest things for English learners to navigate is pragmatics, right?
Yes, the unspoken social rules of the language.
For example, how do you politely tell a chef or a friend who cooked for you that their food just doesn't taste good?
Oh, this is a social minefield.
Yeah.
In some languages, it's perfectly acceptable to be direct.
But in English, you should really never say, this is bad. It's considered way too aggressive.
Instead, we use softeners.
Right. You place the fault on your own preferences rather than their cooking. You might say, it's a little bland for me, or it's not really my taste.
Softening your opinions is a hallmark of high-level fluency. Let's put this into practice by simulating a very short interaction at a restaurant.
Okay, let's say you are sitting at a softly lit table looking at the menu.
If you directly translate your thoughts from another language, you might tell the waiter, I want to eat sweet.
But that is grammatically rigid, and it sounds very transactional.
Right. To sound natural, you would lean into your desires and say, I'm craving something sweet tonight.
Craving is such a great expressive verb, and when the food arrives and it's wonderful, you want to move beyond basic compliments.
Instead of just saying, this food is very tasty, you validate the chef's effort.
You could say, this dish is full of flavor, I absolutely love it.
Natural English is not about perfect textbook grammar. It is about choosing the specific phrasing that native speakers use to navigate relationships.
Showing politeness and enthusiasm makes the conversation flow beautifully.
Let's see if you can apply this nuance.
Yeah.
We're going to do a very gentle mental quiz.
Think of it as a relaxing puzzle for your brain before you sleep. You don't need to write anything down.
I'll set up a scenario and ask a question.
I'll leave a short moment for you to think of the vocabulary word and say it out loud. Then we will break down the answer.
Ready. Here is the first scenario. You are looking at a menu. You do not want dessert. You do not want anything sugary.
You want something salty, rich, and comforting, like a hot bowl of noodles or a slice of pizza. What is the specific word for that flavor profile? Just think about it for a second.
The word is savory. If you landed on savory, you've grasped the distinction between sweet and rich flavor profiles perfectly.
Great job. Okay, scenario 2. Imagine you had to skip breakfast this morning because you were rushing. You worked through lunch.
Now, it is late in the evening, and your desire for a large meal is overwhelming.
You don't just have hunger, you have a big... what's the word?
Appetite. You have a big appetite, captures both the physical need and the psychological anticipation of the meal.
Perfect. Okay, final scenario. You're at a dinner party. The host asks if you enjoy the meal.
Instead of using a stiff, unnatural phrase like, I like this food too much, what is a natural, sophisticated phrase you can use to express your enthusiasm? Think about it.
You would say something like, I absolutely love this dish, or I'm a big fan of this cuisine.
It sounds incredibly natural and makes the host feel deeply appreciated.
Well, as we draw this deep dive to a close, let's just quietly reflect on the ground we've covered.
We started by looking at the hardwiring of our brains.
Yeah, how the aroma of a simple soup bypasses logic to bring us a profound sense of safety and nostalgia.
We navigated the dangerous, overconfident stages of cooking, too.
Right, learning why a heavy hand with chili might burn, but a bland dish just breaks the heart.
And we explored how the different spice grammars of global cuisines are really just different ways that cultures communicate hospitality, warmth, and identity.
You've mentally practiced new vocabulary today, but more importantly, you have explored the psychology behind the words.
You understand why we soften our language in a restaurant and why comfort food genuinely brings us comfort.
And we want to leave you with one final provocative thought to turn over in your mind as you drift off to sleep.
Food is the ultimate icebreaker, revealing so much about who we are.
Think about this. If you had to eat only one specific cuisine for the rest of your entire life, never tasting another culture's food again, what would it be?
And when you make that choice, what does it reveal about your deepest personality?
Are you seeking the predictable comfort of Italian, the endless complexity of Indian, or the communal warmth of Arabic?
That is a wonderful puzzle to leave the mind working on.
It really is. Remember the feeling we talked about at the very beginning of our time together?
Letting the noise of the day fade.
Yeah. Letting your shoulders drop and finding a real sense of calm. We hope this exploration of food and language has felt exactly like that.
Warm, comforting, and deeply relaxing.
Thank you so much for letting us guide you through these concepts today. Keep listening, keep exploring your language skills, and above all, rest well.